Welcome. Today we talk about a new book. Let's begin.
Why this book matters. Discover the purpose within reach. What if your reason for waking up each day wasn't something you had to chase, but something already within reach? In a world obsessed with achievement and speed, Ikigai offers a quiet, powerful alternative, a life anchored in purpose, balance, and joy. Drawing from the secrets of Okinawa's longest living people, this book reveals how small daily habits, meaningful work, strong community ties, and mindful living can create a deeply fulfilling life, no matter your age or circumstance. It's not about escaping to a new place or reinventing yourself overnight. It's about uncovering the simple, overlooked rhythms that sustain vitality and meaning over time. With a blend of timeless wisdom and practical insight, Ikigai guides readers toward discovering what truly moves them and how to build a life around it. Whether you're a young professional feeling lost in the noise, a student unsure of your path, or someone seeking clarity in midlife or retirement, this book offers both inspiration and tools. It's for anyone ready to live not just longer, but more fully. Let this be your invitation to slow down, reconnect, and live each day with intention. Point 1. The meaning behind Ikigai. In Japanese culture, the word Ikigai captures a profound yet practical idea. It means a reason to live or a reason to get up in the morning. It isn't about grand ambitions or abstract spiritual goals. Instead, it refers to the quiet sense of purpose that comes from doing something meaningful, something that makes life feel worthwhile on a day-to-day basis. For some, this might be found in raising a family. For others, it could be gardening, teaching, or perfecting a craft. The essential point is that Ikigai is deeply personal, and it often emerges not from a single, life-altering revelation, but from consistency, reflection, and engagement with the world. At its core, Ikigai is about alignment, where four elements converge: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. This framework provides a practical way to evaluate our daily activities and long-term goals. If your work brings you income but lacks personal meaning, or if your passion energizes you but leaves you isolated or financially unstable, your Ikigai may be out of balance. The aim is not perfection in all four areas, but harmony, enough overlap to sustain both inner and outer life. The Japanese island of Okinawa, often cited for its population of healthy centenarians, offers a living example of Ikigai in practice. People there don't rush to retire or disengage. Many elders continue to contribute to their communities well into their 80s and 90s, not because they have to, but because they want to. Whether it's fishing, weaving, or mentoring the younger generation, they retain a sense of responsibility and joy that gives structure to their days. Importantly, Ikigai is not tied to productivity in the Western sense. It doesn't demand that you monetize your hobbies or hustle harder. Instead, it encourages reflection on what genuinely energizes you. A retired man who tends his bonsai trees each morning with care and reverence may have a stronger Ikigai than someone racing up the corporate ladder but feeling hollow inside. The former lives in tune with what matters to him. The latter may be chasing a goal without understanding why. Finding Ikigai is less about reinventing your life and more about uncovering what already brings it quiet meaning. It starts with asking the right questions. What brings me joy without effort? When do I feel most useful? Which activities make time disappear? The answers don't need to be grand or impressive. They just need to be true. In doing so, Ikigai becomes not just a concept but a lens, one through which each day, however ordinary, can feel purposeful. Point 2. Lessons from Okinawa's centenarians. In the small coastal village of Ajimai, nestled in the lush hills of northern Okinawa, longevity isn't a mystery, it's a way of life. Known as the Village of Longevity, Ajimai boasts one of the highest proportions of centenarians per capita in the world. But what stands out even more than the numbers is the spirit of the people who live there. In Ajimai, age isn't seen as decline, it's seen as deepening. Elders remain integral members of the community, actively participating in everything from local festivals to vegetable gardening. Walking through the village, it's common to find 90-year-olds working in their fields, chatting with neighbors, or preparing traditional dishes for community events. Their schedules are rarely idle. Yet, unlike the rushed pace common in many modern societies, their days unfold with rhythm and intention. Activity is not just a means of staying fit, it's a form of connection, contribution, and joy. Many residents speak of having a reason to wake up in the morning, whether it's tending their small garden, caring for great-grandchildren, or leading calligraphy classes at the local cultural center. Their diet plays a quiet yet vital role. Meals in Ajimai are light, colorful, and nutrient-rich. Plates are filled with vegetables, seaweed, tofu, sweet potatoes, and modest portions of fish. Rarely is there red meat, and portions are small by Western standards. They follow the principle of hara hachi biyu eating until they are 80% full. Meals are often shared, creating not only nourishment for the body, but also connection at the table. Equally important is the strong fabric of community life. Many villagers belong to small social groups known as moai, a kind of lifelong support network that meets regularly. These gatherings aren't formal therapy or productivity circles. They are simply people coming together to talk, laugh, and be present. In times of celebration or loss, these bonds offer stability and emotional care. Elders in Ajimai often say they never feel truly alone. Perhaps what most defines longevity in Ajimai is the absence of retirement in the traditional sense. While formal jobs may end, purposeful living does not. There is no rush to withdraw from society, no cultural script that says one must fade into isolation. Instead, there's an implicit understanding: as long as you can move, think, speak, or contribute, you do. Life stretches out not as a countdown, but as a series of meaningful days. These centenarians aren't just surviving, they're thriving, with twinkling eyes, strong hands, and open hearts. Their lives suggest that long life isn't only about genes or medicine, but about lifestyle, built slowly, choice by choice, in community and intention. Point 3. The power of staying active. Staying active isn't just about movement, it's about momentum. In cultures where people live the longest, like Okinawa, activity is integrated into daily life, not as a workout, but as a lifestyle. It's not unusual to see elders sweeping their porches, walking to the market, or practicing traditional crafts well into their 90s. These aren't mindless tasks. They are rituals that provide structure, identity, and most importantly, a reason to engage with the world. Studies show that early retirement, especially when followed by prolonged inactivity, can accelerate physical and cognitive decline. The body and mind thrive on regular use. Muscles weaken with disuse, and mental agility fades when routine engagement stops. But the opposite is also true. Purposeful activity protects against the wear and tear of aging. Whether it's a daily walk, growing vegetables, or repairing a bicycle, small acts of participation preserve vitality far more effectively than passive rest. In Japan, many retirees choose to keep working in some form. Not out of financial need, but because doing so keeps them connected and useful. A former teacher might tutor neighborhood children. A retired farmer might grow herbs for a local shop. These roles, though informal, maintain a sense of contribution. When people feel needed, they age differently. Their days retain shape. Their identities remain intact. Meaningful tasks don't have to be large in scale to have impact. Folding laundry with care, preparing meals with intention, or tending to a pet all reinforce a sense of rhythm. Hobbies, too, offer more than amusement. They can be deeply nourishing. A person who spends an hour each day painting, gardening, or playing an instrument isn't just passing time, they're deepening their connection to themselves. These are acts of quiet investment that remind us we are still growing, still evolving, still creating. The goal is not constant productivity, but consistent engagement. Doing too much can lead to burnout, but doing nothing invites stagnation. What matters is finding the right balance, one that allows energy to circulate without exhaustion. This is why many Okinawan elders follow gentle routines. They rise early, tend to plants, visit neighbors, and take breaks in between. Their lives flow with intentional pauses, but never with prolonged emptiness. Ultimately, staying active doesn't mean resisting age. It means responding to it. Acknowledging that while strength may fade, meaning doesn't have to. Movement, when tied to purpose, becomes a quiet form of resilience, a daily way of saying, "I'm still here and I still matter." Point 4. Nurturing social connections. In the hills of Okinawa, community is more than a word, it's a lived experience. People don't just know their neighbors, they rely on them, celebrate with them, grieve with them. At the heart of this social fabric is a practice known as moai, a tradition that begins early in life and often lasts until the end. A moai is a small group of friends, sometimes organized by parents when children are young, who commit to supporting each other emotionally, socially, and even financially over the years. While it may start as a playgroup or study circle, it gradually deepens into something resembling a second family. Members of a moai meet regularly, sometimes daily, sometimes weekly. These meetings aren't formal events. They might be shared meals, casual chats under the shade of a tree, or neighborhood walks. The point isn't productivity or problem solving. It's presence. This regular connection creates a safety net of trust and empathy. When someone gets sick, loses a spouse, or faces financial trouble, the moai responds not with charity, but with solidarity. This sense of belonging nourishes something deeper than companionship. It reinforces identity. It reminds people they are seen and valued. In a world where isolation has become a quiet epidemic, especially among the elderly, the Okinawan model offers a powerful alternative. Loneliness doesn't just weigh on the heart, it takes a toll on the body, raising the risk of cognitive decline, depression, and even early death. But when someone feels connected, when they know others will notice their absence, check on their well-being, or share a laugh, they are more likely to thrive. The benefits of social ties go beyond emotional comfort. Neuroscience has shown that meaningful social interaction triggers the release of oxytocin, the hormone associated with bonding and stress reduction. Strong social networks help regulate inflammation, lower blood pressure, and improve immune function. Simply put, being part of a community is a health practice. Even outside Okinawa, versions of this idea exist. In Sardinia, Italy, another blue zone, elders gathered daily in the town square to play cards and exchange stories. In Nicoya, Costa Rica, neighbors help each other harvest crops and celebrate birthdays with full community participation. These moments are not grand gestures. They're consistent, small acts of showing up. The takeaway is clear. Longevity isn't just about what you eat or how much you exercise. It's also about who you talk to and who talks to you. Nurturing social connections isn't a side note to well-being, it's a foundation. In cultures with the longest-lived people, no one grows old alone. They grow old together. Point 5. Eating light, living long. In Okinawa, meals are a quiet ritual of longevity. The traditional diet, largely unchanged for generations, centers on plants, variety, and restraint. Colorful vegetables, bitter melon, sweet potato, daikon, seaweed, dominate the plate. Tofu, miso, and small portions of fish add protein, while sugar and red meat are rare. Portions are modest, but nutrient density is high. This isn't a diet built for weight loss or fashion. It's a culture of nourishment rooted in balance and intention. One of the most striking practices is harahachi biyu, a simple but powerful rule. Stop eating when you're 80% full. It is often recited like a blessing before meals, serving as a mindful pause. This principle helps regulate appetite and prevent the habitual overeating that is common in many modern societies. From a physiological standpoint, this makes sense. The stomach needs time to signal fullness to the brain, and eating slowly to just shy of satiety avoids the bloated, sluggish state that follows excess. Scientific studies support what Okinawan tradition has long known. Caloric restriction, when practiced without malnutrition, is linked to a lower incidence of age-related diseases and a longer lifespan. It reduces inflammation, improves insulin sensitivity, and slows cellular aging. In this context, harahachi biyu is more than cultural wisdom, it's preventive medicine. But equally important as what Okinawans eat is how they eat. Meals are not rushed. Food is consumed in peaceful settings, often with family or friends. Gratitude is expressed, not just for the meal, but for the hands that prepared it and the life that made it possible. This mindfulness extends the benefits of a healthy diet into the realm of emotional well-being. Eating becomes a chance to pause, reconnect, and restore. Contrast this with the common Western experience of hurried meals eaten in front of screens or fast food consumed in cars between appointments. There, food is fuel, quick, utilitarian, and often excessive. The Okinawan approach is slower and more deliberate. It asks, what does the body truly need? How can eating be an act of care rather than compulsion? The longevity of Okinawa's elders cannot be separated from these habits. Their vitality is not the result of a single superfood or supplement. It comes from daily patterns, vegetables over meat, tea over soda, awareness over autopilot. Eating light doesn't mean deprivation, it means clarity. It allows the body to thrive without burden and the mind to stay present without distraction. In that space, health quietly accumulates, one simple meal at a time. Point 6. Flow, the secret to joyful work. There's a particular kind of focus that feels effortless, yet absorbing. Hours pass like minutes. The outside world fades, and attention narrows to a single point. This is flow, a psychological state described by researcher Mihai Csikszentmihalyi as being completely involved in an activity for its own sake. Flow is not about ease or passivity. It arises when a person is fully engaged in a task that stretches their skills just enough to stay interesting, but not so much that it becomes frustrating. Flow experiences are highly individual. A gardener pruning bonsai trees with meticulous care may enter flow just as easily as a programmer debugging lines of code. The key is that the task matches the person's ability and demands focus. It's the sweet spot between boredom and anxiety. When we work below our capacity, we disengage. When we're overwhelmed, we shut down. But in flow, we come alive. In the context of Ikigai, flow plays a quiet but crucial role. Many people assume their purpose must be grand or spiritual, but often, it's discovered in the repeated joy of doing something well. When work offers consistent opportunities for flow, whether it's teaching, writing, fixing things, or creating, it becomes more than a job. It becomes a path of engagement and meaning. Okinawan elders often describe losing track of time while weaving cloth, crafting tools, or preparing traditional foods. These aren't just chores, they're practices that require attention, skill, and presence. Through them, people feel useful, challenged, and connected. Even simple, repetitive acts can become flow-inducing when performed with care and focus. Modern life, however, tends to fragment our attention. Notifications, multitasking, and a culture of urgency make it harder to enter states of deep absorption. Restoring flow means protecting the space to concentrate, limiting distractions, and choosing activities that matter. It also means cultivating skills. Flow doesn't arise from things we do passively, but from things we've learned to do well. One useful clue for finding flow is to notice when time disappears. Which activities leave you feeling energized, not depleted? What do you do that requires effort but doesn't feel like a chore? These signals point to the kind of work that aligns with your Ikigai. It may not be your profession right now, but it could become part of your life with intention. Ultimately, flow isn't just about productivity. It's about presence. It transforms ordinary tasks into moments of meaning and reminds us that purpose doesn't always come from thinking, it comes from doing. And in doing, we reconnect with the quiet joy of being deeply, fully alive. Point 7. Resilience and anti-fragility. Resilience is not about never breaking, it's about knowing how to bend. In the context of Ikigai, it refers to more than surviving tough times. It's about facing change and difficulty with grace, and even using them as opportunities for inner growth. Longevity is rarely the result of an easy life. Many of Okinawa's centenarians have lived through wars, poverty, loss, and upheaval. What stands out is not the absence of hardship, but the mindset with which they faced it. Mental flexibility plays a central role. Those who age well tend to adapt rather than resist. They accept that life comes in seasons, some generous, others demanding. This acceptance does not mean passivity. It means adjusting one's expectations and responses in ways that maintain inner equilibrium. If health fades, they shift their routines. If loved ones pass away, they grieve without collapsing. Their strength lies not in being unshaken, but in learning how to rebalance. Many of these elders also display a form of quiet stoicism. In philosophy, Stoicism teaches that we should focus only on what we can control, our thoughts, choices, and actions, while accepting what lies beyond our influence. This mindset frees people from being emotionally dominated by circumstances. They don't deny pain or disappointment, but they don't inflate it either. In Okinawan culture, this often manifests as calm perseverance, a kind of dignity in the face of setbacks. Purpose deepens this resilience. When someone has a reason to get up in the morning, obstacles feel more manageable. The burden doesn't disappear, but it gains context. In Okinawa, many elders maintain small responsibilities, a garden to tend, meals to cook, or grandchildren to guide. These tasks, while modest, act as anchors. They remind people that their presence still matters. And when life has meaning, it becomes easier to endure uncertainty without falling into despair. This concept aligns closely with what Nassim Nicholas Taleb calls anti-fragility, the idea that some systems don't merely survive shocks, but improve because of them. A resilient mind doesn't just protect against stress, it learns from it. Challenges become material for reflection, refinement, and redefinition. In a life rooted in Ikigai, each difficulty is not only a test, but also an invitation to grow in wisdom, to reorder priorities, or to deepen gratitude. A long and meaningful life is rarely smooth, but those who thrive well into old age often share one trait, a deep trust in their ability to meet life as it is, not as they wish it to be. They don't deny suffering, but neither do they allow it to define them. Through purpose, perspective, and inner stability, they keep going not in resistance to change, but in rhythm with it. Point 8. Slowing down to savor life. In a world that often celebrates speed, Okinawan life unfolds at a gentler pace. This is not laziness or inefficiency, it's presence. The people who live the longest don't rush through their days chasing the next milestone. Instead, they allow time to stretch, to settle, to breathe. Their routines are simple but full, greeting the sunrise, preparing meals with care, watering plants, chatting with neighbors. Each act is intentional, anchored in the moment rather than the clock. This rhythm reflects a deeper principle. Ikigai is inseparable from awareness. When life becomes a blur of deadlines, multitasking, and constant stimulation, it's easy to lose sight of what gives it meaning. We may continue to act, but we disconnect from the why behind our actions. Slowing down restores that connection. It creates the space to notice a breeze, a smile, the warmth of sunlight on the skin. These are not trivial details, they're the texture of a life well lived. Many Okinawan elders maintain daily rituals that help ground them. Morning stretches, tea ceremonies, walks through familiar paths all serve as gentle pauses. These habits are not about discipline or achievement. They are about presence. In their repetition, they offer calm and clarity, softening the mental noise that often clouds judgment and steals joy. Through these practices, people create a rhythm that invites mindfulness into the ordinary. This kind of slowness also allows for deeper listening, both to oneself and to others. In fast-paced cultures, conversations are often rushed, functional, and surface level. In contrast, the Okinawan approach favors time-rich exchanges. Silence is not awkward, it's respected. Stories are shared without hurry. Wisdom passes not through lectures, but through moments of mutual attention. In that space, relationships deepen. Simplicity is another key. A simpler life, fewer possessions, fewer distractions, fewer obligations, makes it easier to focus on what truly matters. Simplicity doesn't mean scarcity, it means clarity. It removes the clutter that dilutes intention. With fewer choices and less noise, the essentials stand out. There's more room for reflection, gratitude, and joy. Slowing down is not about doing less. It's about being more fully with what you're doing. A meal prepared slowly becomes nourishment, not just fuel. A task done with care becomes a meditation, not just a chore. Time expands when we stop racing it. In that stillness, Ikigai reveals itself, not as a distant goal, but as something already present, waiting to be noticed in the quiet moments we often overlook. Point 9. Conclusion. Ikigai is not a fixed destination. It is something uncovered gradually through action, curiosity, and the willingness to reflect honestly. It often begins quietly in the background of everyday life. A task that energizes you, a conversation that lingers, a routine that feels right. Over time, these moments form a pattern, revealing not just what you enjoy, but who you are when you are most engaged and at ease. Living your Ikigai does not require a radical overhaul. It asks for alignment. When your daily habits reflect your values, when your skills contribute to others, and when your passions are given space to grow, life takes on a steady rhythm of meaning. This alignment doesn't mean every day is perfect or easy. It means that even on difficult days, there's a thread that holds you steady, a quiet sense of why you do what you do. Connection is part of that thread. Ikigai doesn't thrive in isolation. It is nurtured through community, shared rituals, and a sense of belonging. Whether through close friends, family, or the broader circles we serve, meaning deepens when we know our presence matters. Contribution, large or small, is part of the equation. It reminds us that we are not just here to consume or pass time, but to offer something back. Self-awareness is another piece. Ask yourself, when do I feel most alive? What activities absorb me so completely I lose track of time? These questions are not just reflective, they are directional. They point toward your Ikigai. But don't stop there. Ask also, what am I uniquely able to give? What needs in the world resonate with me? Ikigai sits at the intersection of personal joy and outward service. The most powerful Ikigai practices are often simple. Preparing food with care, walking without haste, helping a neighbor, creating something with your hands. These are not grand achievements, but they are deeply human. They shape a life that feels rooted, awake, and quietly purposeful. You don't have to find your Ikigai all at once. You only need to stay close to the questions that matter. Let your days be shaped by attention rather than urgency. Choose presence over perfection. And trust that meaning grows not in leaps, but in layers, built patiently through how you show up, what you nurture, and what you love. Live your Ikigai not as an idea, but as a practice. Let it guide your decisions, inform your rhythms, and sustain you through change. In doing so, you create a life not just of longevity, but of depth. Not just of years, but of meaning.
You made it to the end. Great job. Did you find the secret messages hidden inside? If you listened carefully, your life is already changing. Your decision-making is getting better. Your problem-solving is stronger. Your leadership and communication are improving. Your thinking ability is growing every day. Now do these 3 things. 1. Subscribe so you don't miss more secret messages. 2. Like this video. Help others find it too. 3. Share. Send this to one person you love. That person can change their life as well. Keep listening. Keep finding secrets. See you next time. Bye for now.